Do you know what is a hippo in an organization? I know it's very interesting, talking about hippo in an organization. So let me explain. So hippo is the highest paid person in the room, or highest paid person's opinion, and that's how historically decisions have been made in organizations, in boardrooms, in meeting rooms, until we saw the advent of data bringing in, the single version of truth in an organization, where it's no more somebody's gut or intuition. And now, especially when we talk about customer experience, with so many digital touch points, number of data points available, organizations are now orchestrating user experience or customer experience based on, what would deliver seamless experience for the end users looking at it. So it's no more highest paid person's opinion, but that opinion backed by data, that, hypothesis supported by data, validated by data, and then moving, with the best foot forward. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of CX with Chopra, where we talk about everything customer experience. We have Mr. Anurag Sanghai. He's Principal Solutions Architect at Intellicus Technologies. Welcome to the show, Anurag. And we would love to know from you in terms of what you and your organization do.
Thank you, Arjun. It's great to be part of this discussion. Okay. So, we are into this space for almost 2 decades now, like delivering insights to customers.
Hmm.
And the hippo part, which you said, so kind of removing that hippo culture in an organization and democratizing analytics.
Hmm.
And as you said it right, it's like driven by data, driven by insights, single source of truth, lot of contextual part to it, and lot of explanation to
Hmm.
any decision, any outcome, any insights. So, talking about me and my company, so I'm part of Intellicus Technologies. So, we are into this space for, as I said, more than 2 decades now. We started with being a web based reporting platform initially. One
Okay.
of the first platform which started delivering or leveraging the full potential of web technology at the time where it was all thick client, all you can say installable softwares. And there we
Mhm.
thought of, okay, let's democratize this and make it self-serve. So that has been like in our uh, genes. What you can say is
Mhm.
like making analytics so simple, giving that delight to the customers, and making them empowered. Like they can, even a business users can do as complex, or they can delve into as deep into the data and get the insights. Okay, now our journey has evolved in last 20 years from a reporting tool to a data engineering platform. Now, when we say data engineering, that is not only the visualization front, not only just the dashboards,
Mhm.
not just leveraging the machine learning, but the full spectrum of data journey from connectivity to insights. A single platform which does everything, again, in a self-serve manner, in a very easy manner. So that has been in our essence that we have been delivering to our customers.
You touched on a very interesting point that to remove the hippo, right? It's important to democratize the data. And while we also talk about enabling, let's say, some of your clients so that they can deliver on impeccable CX, the biggest challenge typically in such organizations is that how do they all work together towards a common CX goal or a common CX KPI, let's say, and the whole harmony and synchronization between different business units. And that's where I think your point is very much valid, that how do we democratize the data? How do we make different teams or enable different teams so that they have access to single version of truth, first of all, in the organization, and plus, more importantly, they have access to data, so they're not dependent on, let's say, more like a hub and spoke model where there would be one analytics team, bunch of analysts working, and every team is just, it's a queue, and they are part of the queue where they'll probably have to wait for those insights to come in. But rather, like you're saying, it's important, and it's great to know that you and your organization, how you've been visionary, like how you've focused on self-serve right from the beginning, that how do we enable them. So I think it's a great point, because that's what I've, even some of the discussions I've had in my previous podcast, one of the biggest challenge is that, how do we bring everybody together, who owns customer experience, or how do everybody talk about the same version of truth.
Got it. No, you one point you which you brought, Arjun, and I totally concur with that is, and even the thing which I said is having access to the data, but another part is having that access the way you want it or the users want it.
Mm.
Okay. Now let's understand, say, an organization where, say, we are analyzing, say, so a head of a mall, right? He wants to
Hmm.
analyze what's the footfall, what's the total strength of the people who are entering the mall, right? So he can see a dashboard, he can see a real-time insights, he can see
Hmm.
which area of the mall, where exactly the temperature is, and all those things, right? Now just
Hmm.
imagine a security guard, even on his app, he can see how many vehicles are there in the queue,
Hmm.
what is the parking available. He does not worry about, or he doesn't care about what's how many foot what is the footfall in the overall mall. What he cares about is his door, his entry gate, right? So having access to the data and the way he wants to see the data in a much simplified. So that is again the experience part which
Hmm.
comes in the picture. So how personalized you can make it, how you can delight the user with the relevant information, what he want and wherever he want.
Hmm.
So that is the next essence which is there, which has been evolving. And when you talk about the customer experience, and that is what we have seen the journey, the how the users are becoming more and more demanding.
Hmm.
Okay, and as a technology, I'll say company, how we have to adopt to their
Yeah.
demands and then delivering the next level insights. It's not just what they're expecting, what they will further expect. So
Right.
even keep that in the mind and then design our solutions.
And it's a great example you gave because I mean, typically, if you talk to organizations, especially in the space of business intelligence or BI, people talk about design thinking. People talk about storytelling. That how using it's not just about a fancy pie chart or a fancy graph or a tree chart, or overwhelming the user with all the. I mean, I've been a data analyst all my life, so I know I get very excited when I see all that data. I would want to put it all there, but it's not about that. But so coming to my point, when companies are talking about design thinking, storytelling, I think it's a very key point you mentioned that in that example of a mall, you have to be relevant more than anything. You have to understand what that end user wants. For example, for that guard, he would not care if you show him all the statistics and everything. He would just want to see 4 KPIs, let's say. Or how much is my parking? How many people are coming in? What can I advise to the person walking in? Or if there are stills, if there are different entries into the mall, can I advise him to go to the other one, which will take him less time? I think it's more about this, which in a nutshell is all, which all design thinking, all these companies talk about is that how do we keep it more relevant? It's a great example. And I feel that most of the organization miss that because, and that's where I think, I mean, people like you who've been enabling clients that how do we make it seamless for them? It's not about overwhelming the end user with all possible information, but giving the control to the user in to what level of depth he wants that information.
No, we call it measure what matters, right? So
Oh,
just show those KPIs what matters.
interesting. No, absolutely. And like, in BI, it's helping business to improve CX by, personalizing experiences, improving customer service, or targeting marketing efforts specifically, understanding the data about what's relevant, how can we reach out to the right user with the right content, at the right place, at the right time. So can you share any examples of, how probably you enabled using data, some of the insights, how it enabled them to take those actions which were relevant for their end customers?
Sure, sure. I can definitely share some of the use cases
Hmm.
where, or some of the experience which we had. So before that, one thing is that Intellicus being a domain agnostic platform, so we have
Hmm.
been serving customer across domains. Okay,
Hmm.
both globally as well as in Indian subcontinent.
Hmm.
And when I say domain, that ranges from manufacturing to IT, ITES, BPOs,
Hmm.
BFSI. So you name any domain, and we have some of the largest custom brands as our customers. Okay.
Nice.
Now, the recent example which comes in my mind is that we recently got associated with one of the mining major company in Asia subcontinent, probably one of the biggest in Asia. Now they have grown tremendously in last 1 decade, acquiring a lot of different smaller companies, creating them as their subsidiaries. Now, when you acquire a company, you also bring along a lot of technology stack. Each of the
Right.
subsidiary having their technology stack, right? And another thing is still what we have experienced is even with the largest of organization with a level of the digital maturity they already possess,
Mm.
still they are too much associated with Excel. The love with Microsoft Excel
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
has been there, and it's very difficult for users there to kind of tell them and move them from their love with Excel,
Comfort
right?
zone. Huh.
Comfort zone, the Excel.
Huh.
Although Excel is a great tool, but still, if we talk about the totality of data engineering and what all it can do,
Mm.
so that learning curve part of it, how we can help them to kind of move away from Excel or probably leverage more than Excel. So that is one thing which we always possess. Now I'm coming back to your the specific use case and how we kind of created that analytics driven culture. I'll not call it data driven culture. That is like 3 years,
Interesting.
4 years back. More of an analytics driven culture. And it's not even business intelligence. It's now analytics intelligence.
Mm.
Now, we created or we organized different workshops there. So when we engage with our customers, so Intellicus is first of all not just a platform company. So it's a one-stop shop for customers. So we offer consulting, we offer professional services on our platform, and a dedicated support. So it's for a end customer, it's a one-stop shop. You engage
Mm.
with us, and then we'll help you to kind of elevate in your data maturity level. Okay, it's not like that. You first buy a product, and then
Mm.
you engage with some implementation partner, and then you engage in on and then kind of get into that tussle of creating the expected solution. So for them, it's just that our team goes there, our
Mhm.
analysts they go there, and then first thing is they before even assessing their use case, we conduct a workshop. We
Mm.
help them to understand the power of analytics, how world has evolved, how technology is evolving. They are very good in their domain, their business. They
Right.
know their problem statement, and they just need solution. But that's not the limit, right?
Mm.
We tell them, tell us your wish list, tell us your dream,
Mm.
how easy you want your business to be,
Mm.
how intuitive you want your insights or dashboards to be. Okay, how futuristic you want,
Mm.
how predictive, not even predictive, how preventive it is. Like again, prediction leads to the prevention,
Right.
right? So what is your wish list? And then we tell them, okay, this is what world is doing, this is what you can achieve from technology, this is how we are helping different organizations, and now let's work together and now create your expectations. So
Mm.
rather than initially asking their wish list, we help them to define that. Now that gives a level of experience in your world, what you call it, or
Right.
rather call it a delight, initial delight. They feel they get that comfort what companies like us can deliver.
Mm.
Okay, and in that particular example of that mining company, now they are into different industries. Even in the mining, they have different departments and different subsidiaries. So they were around 8 different sub organizations and around 12 different departments in each organization. Now,
Mm.
whenever there was a board meeting, it was such a chaotic situation there. No data matching. When they used to
Mm.
reconcile, the values were going haywire there. Okay, and a lot of different, I mean, contradictory discussions happening between different team heads. Their sales and purchase numbers were not matching. Their manufacturing and quality numbers were not matching, and they
Mm.
had to struggle almost 2 to 3 weeks to at least create some level of a rough presentation, which they
Mm.
used to get it kind of scrutinized with their different department heads and then
Mm.
present it to the board. And you know the board members, right? The investors and
Right.
all, the way they grill and how quickly they get into the each and every nitty-gritties of the data,
And
right?
imagine the risk that
Yes.
1 week down the line, if you know that what you presented was wrong, you're going in with that risk with such kind of scenario.
And when you give them a number or you give them a trend, your sales is going up by 2%. Why only 2%?
Right.
Where are we doing? Where are we getting wrong? So that's the exact question the management asks. And they were like speechless, carrying so much, I mean, almost hundreds of printouts, different, all those things. So that was their typical board meeting. Now,
Mm.
how we help them is creating a single source of truth. And again, when we say single source of truth, that does not mean like just collating and copying those data into a single server or a single entity, that is again old school, right? It's
Hmm.
too costly and too time consuming. So how we can leverage the next level technology, create a data
Right.
virtualization, okay, creating that data different layers of I'll call it data accessibility, and
Hmm.
then empowering different departments on a single platform to work on a single platform and kind of see what relevant information they want to. So what we did is created that culture. We automated their data flows. We helped them to get rid of all those manual process, those Excels, brought everything on a single platform. It's a web-based platform, so it's accessible across the organization. And now when they go to the board meeting, they just present our dashboard and they answer there and there itself. It's all paperless now. And it's all automated now. Any board member, any investor, if they ask any question, they have the answer there and there. So from the holistic 360-degree view to the most granular level.
Hmm.
So that's the
In-
one level of I'll say outcome, tangible outcome they have seen. Elaborating more is now their wish list is increasing with every
I'm
meeting
sure.
we have. So that's our another level of engagement. And that's just not just one time implementation which we do. It's more of a partnership model which we work upon. Okay,
Hmm.
so that is what we call it as a co-creation,
Hmm.
right? So it's not like they came with their problem statement, we delivered something. We
Hmm.
together design not only the solution, we together evolve our product, our platform as well. So that is one of the example. And then similarly, there are more. As I said, we work
And I
with
just
a
want to,
leading.
yeah,
Yeah,
sorry
yeah.
to cut you. I just want to, add in one point to the listeners is that, by enabling this, it's not just getting that information to the board and having, all your cards in order. It's also about, I think the biggest measure is the time to take a decision, which gets shortened, by so much that A, you don't miss out on any opportunity. And B, I mean, if there's an issue, you can quickly act and fix on it. And, instead of leaking revenue in a particular business unit and waiting for days just to get data, like you were saying in the old world before you came in and you implemented that solution. And now probably the board can take and not just know what happened, but also know why it happened. And they can quickly take those decisions and act on it, which I think is the biggest measure of success. I mean, for this kind of an initiative or focus, I think, rather than initiative, like you're saying, it's more about analytics driven, not just being data driven. So, yeah, great example.
And it's all, I mean, getting the dependency on humans. So
Hmm.
that was another challenge which they were facing, right? As I said, there was a lot
Hmm.
of manual process of feeding data, cleaning
Yeah.
data. If that particular person or department, I mean, they were on leave or they're not available, the overall
Governance
cycle,
has become,
data
yeah.
cycle, that was getting impacted. Now with this automation, and so now that has
Hmm.
transformed drastically. And then there are many more examples, Arjun. I mean,
I'm sure.
I can talk about it for the whole day.
But then, how do you? One thing I just want to touch here is that. So, how do you focus on? You mentioned self-serve. I mean, in this case as well, self-serve is very important, right? So, how do you focus on that user adoption and engagement? I mean, creating that intuitive interface, or how do you make it more impactful?
No, very nice, very relevant question, Arjun. So one thing is when we define or when we say users, it's not
Hmm.
like a user with a common psyche, right? Every
Hmm.
user, every role, they have their own level of expectation.
Hmm.
Okay? They have their own level of mindset. Okay, and they have their different roles to play.
Right.
Now, when we design a solution or a platform, we have to think in totality. We have to think how we can serve all of those different layers of users.
Hmm.
And one thing is definitely by the old traditional way of doing it is by measuring those different like KPIs, net promoter scores, or getting those
Right.
feedback loops and all. So those are always there, right? So whenever we design a solution, having that and doing that in an agile way, getting the continuous feedback, and then evolving and then kind of I'll say correcting the solution,
Hmm.
not even correcting probably, but I'll call as improvising the solution as required. But one thing is getting into their world understanding their world, understanding their domain. That is very important. We just can't think from the technology perspective that, okay, we are like technology enabler. So
Right.
what if they come? We have to understand the business first.
Hmm.
So we have those domain experts also in our organization. So when we engage, we try to understand their world. We do a lot of research, like what all is happening around the world on the same domain, what
Hmm.
all problem they are facing, and then we kind of think and we think in a very wide perspective, very horizontally, and then we try to create or design any solution. So that is in our mind. And again, when we talk about self-serve and the way
Hmm.
technology is evolving, specifically after the enablement of or probably introduction of this LLMs or
Right.
OpenAI, right? The expectation level has gone beyond, right? The way it has
Correct.
been simplified, you can talk in your natural language.
Yeah. Because
You
it's in everybody's hand thanks to
It's in
chat.
everybody's hand. No
People
learning
can
curve, right?
see the use case. It's not like, anybody has to imagine what it'll be like. You can see it on your phone. You can see actually working, and you would expect, and that's what most of the clients are expecting in their organization to start adopting. Hmm. Sorry, yeah, go on.
No, 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 not even to design a dashboards now, right? What you need is just to show that information in the way they want, and that
Right.
the natural semantics, right? So
Context.
that is the level of democratization which LLMs has brought in, right?
Hmm.
How we can even leverage that and even make that as a self-serve. So create the end-to-end journey for a customer. So
Hmm.
say for an example, say my CEO, what
Hmm.
would he be interested in? He'll be just interested in what's the revenue number,
Right.
what's the attrition.
Right.
Just imagine he's driving his car to the office and he just asks, how am I doing today? And my platform, it understands he's a CEO.
Hmm.
Okay. What information would be relevant for him?
Hmm.
What I would have been telling that person. So how I can hyper personalize it, give the delightful experience, what he would be
Hmm.
looking for, any anomaly, and just 2 to 3 pointers, key pointers, insights I deliver quickly. He won't be
Right.
interested in knowing how many lines of code my team has written, how
Of
many
course.
defects has been raised, right? So
Hmm.
that is the level of customer experience what we are bringing in. And when we call it self-serve, how a personalized self-serve and an automated self-serve.
Hmm.
So that is where we want our platform to be, and that is what we are delivering to our customers.
And obviously that'll get reflected in your NPS, CSAT when you see it. Makes sense. So you touched upon two things I would want to deep dive on. One is the data engineering aspect, and the other is definitely AI. So I'm going to touch the data engineering aspect because I find it very, very, very relevant, since you said that you it's not just about business, setting up those business intelligence platform. It's also about the engineering, because the very important critical aspect it touches is trust in data, which everybody is looking at. Although we'll talk about AI separately, but even in the world of AI, everybody is talking about, can I trust this data? Can I trust this prediction or forecast? But even to look at, let's say, from a descriptive standpoint or a diagnostic standpoint, in my organization, the trust in data is very, very important. And I know, in some of our previous conversation, you also spoke about that you also focus on enterprise analytics, and some of the examples you shared from retail and some of the others. I would want to know more about, how do you focus on that from an enterprise standpoint, and then how does that, enable businesses?
Okay, sure. So when I said about the data engineering part, so now when we again talk about a data journey, it's not just the visualization, Arjun,
Mm,
right?
right.
It's about connectivity with different sources. It's about bringing in lot of contextual analysis,
Mm,
lot of external data which backs up my analysis. It's not just like if I just want to see my sales trend is going up and down, but what could be the reason behind it? Now
right.
that reason would be coming from some data from the organization's sources. Some might be some external point. How exactly the world is doing? How exactly the market is doing? I mean, just an
Right.
example, right? Now, again, all of my insights, all of my analysis, at the end of the day, depends on the quality of data. the
Correct.
trust part which you said, right? And I'll definitely touch base upon the predictive part and the explainable part of it, right? But coming more to the core level is like how we can create trust in that data, right?
Hmm.
And that is where being a single unified platform helps, platform like us, because it's not an orchestration of different platforms which is being there, which is done to kind of deliver the insights. And suppose in an organization you see some data value which is not matching, which is not relevant. Now you'll have to do a lot of scrutiny where exactly the problem is.
Correct.
Whether it is in the ETL, whether it's in the data warehouse, whether it is in the data staging, whether it is in the data processing, whether it is in the semantic layer, where exactly, right?
Yeah.
Now having a unified data engineering platform gives that trust because the whole journey of that data is being managed by a single platform. Now that's
And,
one part. Another is even in that platform, how we ensure that trust is there, right? Now at every step or every milestone of that data journey,
hmm.
we have to put in those, or we put in those different checks.
Hmm.
We put in those different data quality outliers, alerts. We know the range. So whenever say a data extraction happens, what we do is, I'll quote again a couple of examples how we created a data pipeline for one of the FMCG company where they had a legacy system in place,
Hmm.
and the data was being pushed in by the tertiary users. When I say tertiary users, the end users who did lot of spelling mistakes.
Hmm.
Okay, so it was not like data was coming from an automated. There was data being punched manually
Hmm.
by apps, right?
Hmm.
And just imagine the
Yeah.
quality of data. Okay,
Yeah.
and that was across India with a different linguistic and different like kind of an education level, literacy level.
Analyst
Right,
nightmare, I think.
right. So it was the FOS team.
Yeah.
Now, in order to clean that data, we again leverage machine learning, how
Hmm.
we can create those different fuzzy logic to match
Hmm.
and ensure the correctness of data. Okay, even if it was an outlier, it could quickly raise an alert. It was just validate data at different levels, and unless it is ensured by different quality checks, it will not push that data to the data mart.
Hmm.
That's one part. Another is even the range of the data, the scale of
Hmm.
the data, right? Whether suppose a particular value has to lie in a particular range, if it is going above or below, by what percentage,
Right.
showing that report, a detailed report to the data admin, ensuring that he is part of the workflow. If it is a manual process, and we need to make sure that there is no kind of a uh, leakage there, or there is no uh,
Hmm.
possibility of getting any uh, outliers there. So we have an option where we can also put a workflow, define a workflow. And then goes after those different checks, once it is there, then only the data get processed and the insights get generated.
Hmm.
So we
Interesting.
leverage not only the rule based, we also leverage the machine learning based different algorithms to ensure the
Yeah, and
clarity.
obviously it builds that trust in data to be able to take those, decisions. Interesting. I want to touch upon, and I read your article as well. You spoke about, AI-driven cloud analytics, and what I want to hear from you, what's your perspective of, what role AI is playing in, let's say, in today's BI landscape, or even in business at large. What are the expectations? What are the trends? Let's say some of the patterns that you're seeing. Or,
So the cloud and AI, they complement each other. The
right.
level of compute required
Hmm.
for AI, for ML, okay, so it cannot be like totally be done in an on-prem system. The way
Hmm.
cloud could be scaled and with different pre-built models available. So the time to insights over the cloud and the cost that reduce drastically. So
Hmm.
that's definitely there. And the way different algorithms are evolving every day. Okay, now having a access to that again
Hmm.
helps organization to kind of leverage that to fullest and with speed.
Hmm.
So obviously, I see cloud and AIML evolving together and complementing together. So that is
Hmm.
one part. Now, if I talk about how, or if I envision the future of BI with respect to AI, and
Hmm.
obviously around the vicinity of customer success or customer experience. Now, one thing definitely what I've seen is the curiosity level of customer that
Mm.
has increased.
Which is great.
Earlier, they were just
Yeah.
interested in their numbers. If
Mm.
I am a sales head, I'll be just interested in the number of leads, the conversion
Right.
ratio. That's it. But the
It's no more
curiosity,
reactive. It's
yeah,
proactive now. Yeah.
it's proactive. Yeah, yeah, you said right, and it's more like uh, near to reality what they want. Even if
Mm.
their number they see, they want to see corresponding to their business, corresponding to uh, industry is similar to them.
Mm.
So it's not what we call it as a more of a near to a reality analysis
Mm.
based out of curiosity. Now, when they say curiosity and the technology, like today's technology, which is meant to deliver the insights very quickly. So you
Mm.
have a question, what you expect, you get that answer instantaneously, right?
Right.
So, and with an explanation, why
Mm.
this? Okay. So I see future of a technology or analytics such that it fulfills the curiosity of a customer
Mm.
with proper explanation, with speed, and with authenticity.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
those are the different attributes which I feel, if stitched together,
Mm.
could or will deliver the insights which organizations that they are looking for. Now, how Intellicus is at the forefront of this is that we are invested a lot creating an R&D team
Mm.
and leveraging LLMs to its fullest. Now, even in the LLMs or SLMs nowadays, now rather than having or leveraging a generic model,
Mm.
what if we kind of create a domain centric or a domain specific models? Talking
Mm.
about the banking industry, right? Say a model which understands all the nuances of banking industry, all the ontologies, business ontologies. Now, how helpful that would be having
Mm.
a co-peer kind of a thing, an automated bot kind of thing, which
Mm.
totally understands just the banking domain
Right.
knowledge,
And the
all this
context for
stuff,
that data that you're seeing. Yeah.
right? And secondly is working in their network. I mean, in their local network. Not every organization wants
Mm.
to go use cloud or go public as
Yeah.
an access or kind of expose their data or even their prompts, their questions over the cloud, over the
Right.
internet, right? Even with the largest of banks, which are our customers, and I was having word with one of the CTO of the leading bank in
Mm.
US, and we're talking about the OpenAI part, right? They say they're
Mm.
SOC compliant now. I said they're SOC compliant now. There's no problem, right? You can definitely leverage OpenAI, but still, they said no.
Yeah. I can.
They so that reluctance is there, and there where what we felt is creating a local LLMs inside their network as powerful as
Right.
those larger ones with minimal resource requirement
Mm.
and understanding the business nuances. So that is one
Which
key
adds
piece
to the
where we are doing
trust in data, trust in AI, which
trusted.
becomes, I think, in today's world, very important.
So and another is again the explainable AI part of it. When you
Hmm.
see a particular outcome, any prediction, why it is there. So
Right.
doing that data lineage, traversing back, showing you the values of the predictors, and then predicting the outcome in a
Hmm.
very transparent manner. So giving them the full confidence. So one thing is obviously the accuracy part, but even in the accuracy part, the reason for any particular prediction or an outcome.
Hmm.
So that is another area where we are working on. So making the overall journey very transparent for any user.
Yeah.
And again, it is like assisted journey for them from connectivity to the insights.
Hmm.
So no IT involved. You just simply say anything. So whole platform is
Right.
just being interacting with you. You say and it will do it for you. So that
Just
is the next level of self-service.
harnessing that curiosity and maintaining that and feeding it with information, which you can think. Great points. No, great points. And I just want to ask, my last segment, last question is for young professionals out there who are starting their career in this space. What are some of the tips that you would give and want to share in terms of, what are the skills they should be looking for or owning or building?
A
Hmm.
very relevant question, Arjun. So nowadays, I've seen there are a lot of ready-made algorithms available,
Right.
and young technocrats, what they tend to do is simply use an algorithm and give the output, or give the results.
Hmm.
What I feel like is they should get into the nitty gritties and understand the statistical model well. So one thing is understanding the business domain, the business world. That is very important, because even the machine learning or the AI, it's not a magic. What I've
Hmm.
again felt, so digressing a little bit, Arjun, here is still the mindset
Hmm.
of users are there that AI will do some level of magic. It will predict something which is beyond what
Right.
they can think, right? And it will help them to grow their business in an automated way. I mean, it will say,
Right.
it will predict something, and if you try that, and your business will go, elevate like anything. But that's
Hmm.
not the reality.
Hmm.
Machine learning is like learning the intelligence, the human intelligence. Why we call ourselves humans as intelligent? Because we learn from whatever happens around us. We
We
learn
built
from the
on it.
bugs. We learn from the
Experiences. Past.
experiences. Understanding the nuances,
Hmm.
understanding the depth of any algorithm, why a particular algorithm has to be used,
Hmm.
what fits best, is very
Hmm.
important.
Hmm.
So, getting into the root cause of it is very
Hmm.
important.
Yep.
Learning technology is very easy nowadays. So there are a lot of
Right.
tutorials. The overall programming methodology has changed. It's very easy now, but it's more customer centric, more problem centric now.
Hmm.
How a particular technology can help solve a real business world or a real
Hmm.
business problem.
Hmm.
So my mantra would be is to understand the
Hmm.
business,
Hmm.
understand the technology
Hmm.
in depth, and then act as a bridge, create that bridge, that how
Hmm.
technology and business problem could help each other to evolve. Now when I say help each other, now one can ask how a business problem can help technology
Hmm.
to grow, right? Now every algorithm is
Hmm.
evolved because of some of the other business problem, some of the
Correct.
specific business problem. Okay, so they both go hand in hand.
Hand in hand. Yep.
So that is the like my suggestion to the young technocrats, that don't get into the shortcuts. Shortcuts are never short.
Hmm. Yeah.
Understand the technology well, and if you have a good hold over the technology, now that can help you to solve any business problem.
Yeah. Shortcuts lead to short circuit, I think. But thank you so much, Anurag. I think I love the whole conversation. I'm sure all the viewers, would find it very informative, and definitely give us a lot of insights in terms of how organizations are enabled by being analytics driven. In today's world, and going on and look capturing the whole AI trend, what's going on, understanding the user, connecting all the dots, and then taking the right decision for their end customers. So thank you so much, Anurag, and thanks everyone for listening in. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjun.